Meteor 3.1 is out, and it has major infrastructure upgrades, core improvements, and developer experience improvements. Hey, I'm Gabs, developer advocate at Meteor Software, and today I am here with the team to talk about all these improvements that came with version 3.1. So I'm here with the open source team from Meteor Software, Leonardo Venturini, Gabriel Gruba, and Nacho Codonier to talk about everything that's new in version 3.1. So version 3.1 brings a lot of good stuff, a lot of great news for Meteor.js users, and one of them is that we have major infrastructure upgrades. And one of the things that you mentioned in your article about this version, Leo, is that we now are breaking free from legacy constraints. Can you explain what you mean by that?
For a long time, we were stuck with Node 14, mostly due to fibers, and there was a huge migration to reach Meteor 3. And now, perhaps the first time in a long time that the version Meteor uses for Node is the same one in the LTS release. So it's a big milestone for us.
So I want to know, guys, what is the major infra changes that we have in version 3.1?
Well, it's like this is like a big release because it involves three major upgrades. We upgraded Node, Mongo, and Express. Express is a big milestone also because now it supports promises natively, and if you throw an error in at the endpoint, it will not crash your whole applications. And there are many great improvements there, and is perhaps the single upgrade that kind of introduced breaking changes. So if you have existing endpoints, you might need to make some adjustments. And also partly the Mongo upgrade as well. Node.js should be seamless because Node just has a history of maintaining compatibility. But Mongo now, what was a callback might have become a promise. You need to just take a look on your direct manipulations into the Mongo driver to make sure it's not using callbacks.
Not everyone knows that Meteor supports Express, and now we are supporting version 5, right, guys?
Yeah, we're now not only exporting it, but it's one of our building blocks. So you can pretty easily just import Express in your app and start using it. And being on version 5 is a really nice thing because although it was on 4 and people still use 4 for everything and most stories are in 4, you can start now migrating your apps to 5 in using Meteor. So that's, for me, it's a huge thing because I always stuck with Express and now it's reached on 5 and there are a few performance upgrades there and changes to how they handle things like promises and etc. So it's quite nice to have Express 5 on Meteor.
Now let's talk a bit more about the core improvements. It looks like there's some new libs that make part of Meteor core right now and also some improvements. Can you tell us a little bit about that, guys?
Yeah, maybe I can talk about the inclusion in the Meteor core of the rules packages, which has been a package really used by the community itself. And we got the initiative to bring it in the core. And now it's available there. You just need to point the new package name, which is just roles, into your Meteor application, and that is enough. And big thanks to the Nilsson, which helped us to migrate into this.
So for people that don't know, what does it mean to bring it to the core, Nacho?
Bringing it to the core means that we will take responsibility of maintaining this package from now on. This is something that is going to happen more, but I don't think it's going to happen too often. We need to really to understand which are the priorities of the community and which packages are going to be more beneficial than others to be included on the core. And for sure, this is going to also need a public conversation with all developers around.
So after we released Meteor 3, there were some performance issues reported to us. And turns out that our real-time code is very hard to understand. And much of it is using legacy code, legacy standards. So in order for us to fix and find good solutions or architecture improvements, we decided that we need to kind of refactor the code and make it more amenable to either us to understand what we are doing and also to make the barrier for contributions smaller. So by refactoring to TypeScript, we already could find some potential improvements, and we already have an APR that is implementing them, and it's fairly stable by now. We'll be releasing the next patch. Refactoring was not something that we're planning to do actively, but the idea is like to move new things to use TypeScript instead of using just plain JavaScript.
And why is that? What are we planning on TypeScript?
Yeah, TypeScript is like the standard in the ecosystem by now. There are many other technologies there that provides types, but TypeScript is the one that's most used and most supported by language service and IDEs out there. So it's kind of very beneficial in many ways. The first one is like creating an architectural soundness of the code. Like I like to use an analogy. For building different things, you need different materials, right? If you're building a small house, you need different materials than if you're going to build a skyscraper. So TypeScript is like that. It's just like it's less flexible than plain JavaScript, but in some cases you want less flexibility, more predictability and consistency. So in this case, like we already have a very mature stack, and the real-time code is very validated over time. So we just need to make it more understandable, more concise, and things like that, and to ensure quality. So yeah.
And it looks like we completely removed the underscore dependency from packages. What does that mean?
So this is a thing that we were working for a long time. And I mean a long time, I mean like since 2.8 or 2. Something. What happens is like at the time, Meteor and JavaScript weren't like standardized, so you had in the browsers, we had the Internet Explorer, that like the whole thing. We had like a lot of browsers and had to have browser support. And underscore was the facto package and library to do multiple things. The time has passed. Modern browsers and Node has every feature that we might need. Like you want to filter something, you want to remove something, you want to check if something is equal. It's easier today, and we got stuck with that like old legacy part. And a few pieces were harder to take it off. That's why it took so much time, and we had other priorities at the time. But nowadays everything's off, and we are now like an easier and more maintainable way to see our packages, because now we don't have that underlying abstraction of using underscore. You don't have like that crazy function that you know how it works, but it's easier to see a map, like an array.map, rather than a map from underscore or something like this. So, or is equal from underscore. So I'm sure if the others want to chime in some other. This is the more maintainability and easy for new contributors. So like most people that start like early persons that are like starting to work on our code base struggle or see and think it's really different to see underscore nowadays. So I guess the other people on the team have some other things to chime in on this change.
Yeah, like it's great to have the code base migrated to native solutions instead of using the library. Because back then there was no .map or the for each. So now most of the things that underscore does is already implemented natively, which is faster.
And it looks like for this to be delivered, we had a great help and big effort from the community, right, guys?
Yes, it was. It was, I think, for Harry, and I think someone else helped in one or other package, but it was mostly Harry. So a big shout out to Harry on helping out on this one. Yeah, it was a big thing, like, because as you can imagine, this helps a lot on newer contributions, because you're now using native things from JavaScript, the modern de facto JavaScript, instead of relying on underscore functions that some people might not know it. And there are like abstractions, like is equal is super abstractive to like for most people. And it's nice to have like a built-in native solution that everyone can see what's going on. And yeah, we all know the code now. So I guess this is more of a quality of life thing, but it's really nice. And the community helping us, this is like the best part of it. So really nice.
Yeah, one curious aspect about this is that the bundle size for underscore is fairly big. It's not huge, but it's fairly big. And like we used in many packages, and each package kind of included again, so it would like multiply by the number of packages you're using in your Meteor application. So now your bundle size is a little bit smaller. So these things can add over time, and as we make more optimizations, your image that you deploy to production will be eventually much smaller.
Shout out to Harry and the community for those helped us with this. And what about this resolution of top level await and reify issues, guys?
So this issue kind of has been haunting us for at least a few months now, and we would kind of fix, but it would not propagate to the release, because it would kind of work in our checkout code, but it would not work after we release, because the package that we published were kind of used indirectly by ECMAScript, for example, and we didn't publish ECMAScript all at the time, and the changes were not propagated well. So eventually, with the help of the community, we kind of understood what was going on. Of course, there was the technical aspect of understanding the issue inside Reify and also our Babel package. So right now it's fixed and it works well everywhere. So just to contextualize what this does is like it allows you to use await at the root of your file. You don't need to add it inside an async function, whatever. You just call an await for a promise just at the root level. And it's kind of a very good quality of life change and also add support for some of our dependencies.
Okay, so speaking about quality of life, let's talk about developer experience improvements. What can we talk about fast rebuild and HMR, guys?
Yeah, as part of Meteor 3.1, we were focused a lot of performance in general, but not only on the runtime of Meteor itself, but also on the Meteor tool, as we got some reports from developers on our community that the performance of the Meteor build was not on par of the Meteor 2 performance. We took a look into this, we debugged it further, and we were able to at least make it equal performance of the Meteor 2 version.
So there are other improvements in the core, especially environment variable, which is like something that we used in many places, and it depends on sync local storage. It was kind of overly verbose and a strange implementation before, and Zodern, shout out to Zodern, to implemented a simplification of the code, and it actually fixed some issues that we were seeing before, and it's a great improvement. And also the native MongoDB, because before bundle would actually include the x64 version of MongoDB, and your machine would use Rosetta, and it would kind of cause some issues where like it would get hanging and something, and it would get stuck and you could not kill the service. And I discovered that the bundle, the zip file that the MongoDB provides has a different name inside it. So like when you expand the zip file, the naming was causing the problem. That was why we couldn't add it before. So that was very nice. And also there was Cordova compatibility. There were many upgrades and packages, and fixed some issues there. Probably Nacho can add more details about that. And also there was the Meteor publish update, which is what was not working. So that's just a simple solution. It's working now.
Yeah, regarding Cordova, we have been facing several issues on stability in Cordova. We have been fixing those. And the good thing about this area of Meteor is that we have got enough reports from the community, enough participation on even testing those fixes. So big thanks to all the community for these efforts in common.
Okay guys, that's all great news. And for those that want to get started with Meteor 3.1, what they should do?
npx Meteor, yeah. npx Meteor and Meteor create in the name of your project. But you can also just run Meteor create and it will ask you a few questions and you can create your app. So just install Meteor today and have a great time.
And if you want to read Leo's article about this release, we're going to leave a link in the description where he dives a little bit more in each topic that we discuss here. Also, if you want to know what is ahead on our planning, you can check the roadmap. We're going to leave a link in the description as well. And you are always welcome to participate in discussions in our forums and also on the issues directly on GitHub. Thank you very much, guys, and have a great day. See you in the community.